joining our PD session today. Today we are going to have 1 hour session. It's about 30 minutes sharing from our speaker. Our speaker is Mr. Farouk Abdul Khalid. Today he will be sharing the topic, which is building data-driven organization. Before we proceed, I would like to brief a little bit about our speaker. Mr. Farouk is the Chief Customer Experience Officer for the Center of Applied Data Science, or simply known as CADS. He joined CADS after 20 years of working experience in a Fortune 500 oil and gas company, a Malaysian public listed telco. He's a senior principal of a global public listed management consulting firm. Mr. Farouk has led a number of strategic projects, including public sector transformation, including in Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Education and Transformation, including other government agencies. He was involved in numbers of leadership assessments and development programs in Malaysia and across ASEAN region. Before we start, I would like to give a reminder to everyone to kindly mute yourself as to reduce noise and other interruptions. We are going to have Q&A session towards the end of our sharing. Please be ready with your questions or drop easily on the chat box. With that, shall we begin our talk? Mr. Farouk, you may start whenever you are ready.
Okay, thank you so much, Puan Lubna. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera and a very good morning. If you can give me a second, I'll just put on my slide. Yeah. One second. Okay. Okay, thank you so much again. First of all, I would like to thank Myra for inviting me for the session. And it's important that I think I've been briefed by Dr. Hidayah last evening. I had a quick chat with her how we would like to have this session. And I think it's Friday. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to share a bit in terms of the knowledge and experience with regard to how everybody can learn on about data-driven organization. I was also informed by Dr. Hidayah if we can make this session a bit lighter than normal, because this is Friday. To those Muslims are going for their khutbah kejap lagi pun, so I don't plan to go for a very long khutbah. As rightly said by Puan Lubna here, Miss Lubna, we can have a very interactive session. I think is a big crowd that I'm seeing at the moment, at least virtually from my home here. So I think if I can do a bit of suggestion, let's leave the question and answer towards the end, so I can take the question. But I will spend a bit around 40 minutes to just share with you a bit of knowledge and insights based on my experience. So another thing is, I think if you can open the chat now, I just wanted to know who my audience are. So if people can actually just key in the chat box, how many years of experience that you have now. I just want to see what sort of members are attending today. So kalau tidak, kadang-kadang I pun tak tahu whether I'm talking to fresh graduates ke and all that. So just key in there if it's okay with you. Is it okay, Ms. Lumna? Okay, wonderful. So if you can just chat dekat situ, and again while doing that, thank you so much, Ms. Lumna, about your kind introduction. So for me, I've clocked 20 plus years of working experience, probably indicating my age already. But interestingly enough, my work experience has gone from an engineer and became a management consultant. And only recently, 2 years ago, a bit more than that, I've decided to join CADS. Orang kata bila lagi nak buat benda ni, because like I said, startup is the way to go. Kalau you tengok in this part of the world, that's how a country is being driven. Not so much about the large organization. We are talking about SMEs, startups will be driving the economy engine of the country. So I tengok kat sini, so I decided to join CADS because if you've managed to hear what my founder and CEO has mentioned, just now, prior to this session, Sharala, again, born and bred in Malaysia, lady, decided to actually realize that, again, Industrial Revolution 4.0 is definitely something that all of us need to continue to upskill to remain relevant. So kalau I tengok kat sini 8 years, 15 years, 12 years. So I'm actually together with a lot of knowledgeable people in this group, and hopefully I think I can actually share a bit experience, and we can also exchange in terms of knowledge and experience towards the end. So without further ado, I think orang kata tak kenal maka tak cinta. Let me explain to you who CADS are first, and it's important that you know who we are, because we sometimes people mistaken us as a training company and all that. So CADS, or Center of Applied Data Science, we are a skills intelligence management solution organization. Panjang tu, skills intelligence management. What do we do? So for the last 8 years, we want to accelerate enterprise journey to become a data-driven organization and empower the workforce to become data literate. So ada dua komponen kat sini. First, we need to look at how organizations should actually change to become a data-driven organization, and that's how we're going to elaborate a bit. What exactly is a data-driven organization? And number two is looking at very, very closely on upskilling people or reskilling people in data literacy. And the vision ultimately, why we want to do this is to actually future-proof the world by improving data literacy as an economy of the workforce. I think there's an echo there. So kalau siapa-siapa boleh tutup dia punya sound mode tu, appreciate that, thank you. Okay, ramai kat sini, 25 years, 35 years, 12 years. Again, great experience that we can share together this morning. So going back to the vision, future-proofing the workforce is very important, because zaman IR 4.0 ni is all about, again, a lot of job will be again gone or disappeared, and we need to future-proof the world, not just for us, and also for our kids, grandchildren, and the future generation, because a lot of things are changing and we need to keep up with the trend. Alright. So bila I bercerita pasal, again, as an organization, we are skills intelligence management solution. That means, again, we don't sell any IT stuff and all that semua, ya. This is what we do. First of all, we predict what is the workforce capability and the skills gap. We have that capability based on our data that we have to know that, again, certain jobs will actually disappear or remain irrelevant. We should be able to actually look at in the future in terms of how we actually going to address this issue moving forward. That's when the resolution or the resolve part that comes in, because immediately ramai organizations sekarang sedar that, again, they need to upskill the workforce to become data literate, right? And finally, bila kita dah, again, predict and resolve, the third is, of course, to actually monitor how the jobs will actually be evolved. So I guess throughout this session, ramai will actually ask me what exactly is data science, data engineer, data architect, again, drone pilot. These are all new jobs and all that. These are actually the real issue, even in, again, CEOs, CHRO tak faham or masih lagi tak dapat this, again, a full spectrum of what will be the future jobs in the world. So I think, again, Alhamdulillah, CADS has been around for 7 or 8 years. We've actually upskill more than 10,000 Malaysians and people in this region. We touch on 100 organizations, meaning to say the big companies, SMEs, yayasan, and ultimately I think because the globalization is actually gonna touch on the future of the workforce, people tak payah kerja and travel abroad most of the time. We know the fact that, again, the collaboration of the ASEAN community will get stronger in the future. Okay, so continue to 15 years experience automotive, 17 years. So quickly, based on this data, I can actually give an average of, again, most of you all have at least more than 10 years experience dekat sini. Thank you so much. So it's important as well when we started these things, nobody knows us as a startup, tapi Alhamdulillah, as I said again, we are coming to our 8th year. The partnership that we are having today cuts across the multinational companies that you get to see on this slide, even government agencies, the single largest employer in Malaysia with around 7 to 1.8 million population also understands the need to actually upskill their civil servants. So again dengan Intan, dengan JPA semua. So dekat sini you see things are moving very very positive in this country in terms of how they see the need on upskilling their people as well as driving their organization to become a data driven organization. All right. I think we would like to also share, this is also our most recent news, and you can actually Google on orang kata our collaboration with the only Fortune 500 company in Malaysia, Petronas, where they realize because being the most important organization, I believe, from a corporate sector in Malaysia, the need for them to actually drive the digital skill is very important. As what Syarala mentioned, memang dulu oil price has taken a dip, tapi kalau you tengok again, sekarang ni oil price is coming back again. Then you get to see the correlation that how do they actually use the money in terms of again making sure the organization to be sustainable. And part of it is of course they realize upskilling and making sure that their organization to be data driven will be utmost priority. Maksudnya dekat sini the investment is not so much about again building more technology and all that semua. Today we need to actually, or Petronas realize that again upskilling the workforce, not just for their employee. I think last week I was with Petronas that we are collaborating with the Sabah punya state to upskill the youth from University Malaysia of Sabah, because they realize kalau you tengok the data again, the education level of again the Sabah punya secondary population or university is probably the bottom three. So what as a Malaysian, as an organization we should do, we should give opportunity for all in terms of data literacy. Another thing is maybe we always believe, for myself, Shah, and in CADS, when we talk about data literacy ni, just imagine in Industrial Revolution 3.0, people talk about maths and science. Sekarang ni we want to advocate and tell people that again data literacy is the next maths and science for everyone. Tak kisah daripada boss, board member, all the way to again fresh graduate, right? Okay. I want to go back also dekat sini because it's very interesting, if I don't mind sharing. Kalau you tengok dekat sini the journey of Sarawak State government as an organization to become data driven organization, we are part of their journey as the state try to evolve to become a data driven organization. The classic example is again when we work very closely with the Jabatan. Sekejap ya, something happened with the slide. Can you all see the slide? Say yes.
Not yet, Mr. Farouk.
No.
Okay, now can.
Oh, dia terpadam ya, sekejap ya.
Yeah.
Okay, dah.
Okay, resume. Minta maaf atas kesilapan teknikal. Okay, sekejap.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to just share a quick experience with this real success story of Sarawak, really planned for 3 years. Dengan kita ambil contoh jabatan JEBAP that manages the water punya utility for the Sarawak state. Di sini, I think the biggest issue has always been not just again for JEBAP, I think any water utility company where banyak water punya revenue is lost to again bocor lah, kena curi and all that semua. And another thing will be as they go into this automation and all that, yang paling affected sekali is actually the people yang dekat bawah tu. Not even fresh graduate, we are talking about the meter readers and all that semua. So given the fact the leaders realize where in the next 10 years and all that semua, how do they make these people, meter readers semua, to remain relevant? So we have partnered with JEBAP to make sure that again at least 300 of them go through our program to make sure that they are upskilled. And Alhamdulillah, like I said again, you'll be surprised. Today data literacy, It's not about again your minimum qualification is to actually get a degree and all that more. With the right knowledge and experience, you go to the right module and all that more. Today we are seeing even the meter readers are able to actually use their data and use simple Excel analytics, report it to their bosses, and advise the bosses in terms of again the necessary information for the bosses to decide how they can actually again make insightful decision to make sure that again cost is managed, customer is actually managed in terms of the satisfaction and all that semua. All the way sampai Chief Minister of Sarawak, because sekarang ni again all the dashboard is ready available. Investment is small, and guess what, dalam masa 3 bulan tu most of them, these people can be upskilled and reskilled, right? This is quite important as well, because I think dalam perjalanan of again the nation, we realize that again people are quite confused what exactly is data professional is all about. And that's when I think again with the birth of MBOT, and MBOT is to make sure that again kalau engineers like us, I mean I'm an engineer by background and all that, semua kita ada rumah kita dekat IEM and Board of Engineer, but for the rest of the job like technologies and all that semua, where data professional is also part of under MBOT punya governing body to make sure that again their career path is to make is managed, their learning and development is being on kata structured and all that semua. We are the strategic partner of MBOT, and as we speak sekarang ni semua orang yang nak go into this data professional will be asking MBOT, will be asking game CADS. Macam mana nak dapat apa ni TS, bukan Tan Sri punya title but TS in data professionals. So it's almost done. The work has been done for almost 2 years to work closely with MBOT to make sure that again whoever wants to go and become a specialist in data professional, at least in Malaysia, we have a certain credentials, or at least MBOT again through MBOT, we are working with them to make sure that again criteria ni is being standardized. Because ultimately as well, bila kita bercerita pasal standardization, what is it orang kata in it for people yang who go through this journey. I come from a human capital punya management consulting background. One of the most important thing is to make sure that again we make sure that again people are being rewarded or compensated according to their skills and knowledge. So this is when I think we at CADS are very strongly supportive of what MBOT is trying to do, and we are continuing to actually help the nation together with MBOT and multiple organizations to make sure we drive the national digitization agenda. So kalau ramai tak tahu dekat sini, kalau you hear the latest My Digital Economy Blueprint that was launched last year in February, Malaysia is supposed to actually generate 30,000 data professionals in 2030. What is the number today? Of course, we are still long way to go, but I think through all this initiative, through different partners and all that more, we need to be optimistic in terms of the approach, right? So dalam all this again experience and journey of an organization to make sure that again to become a data-driven organization, at least individually they need to be data literate. CADS are very clear in terms of making sure all our programs are certified. So certified dekat sini, we partner closely with MBOT to make sure that again most of our learning path, siapa nak jadi data engineer, siapa nak jadi data scientist, siapa nak jadi again data architect and all that semua, we get this thing accredited and endorsed by MBOT to make sure that again the quality remains at a certain standard, at least at national level. And then of course I think as we go, and again we are already in multiple countries in ASEAN, we need to also make sure that again the standard is beyond Malaysia punya framework lah. Dekat sini data professional, because it's still a fairly new profession, whatever said and done, compared to accountants, engineers and all that, we have partnered or at least gotten the recognition from Informs. So it's an again US body, Institute of Operation Research and Management Science, to make sure that again what we do is again match to a certain standards of data professionals in international region. Banyak lagi body yang ada dekat situ, DASCA and a few more, but I think it's important that again we start somewhere. And of course, benda-benda lain macam we are working very closely with the banks and all that semua. So those who want to sign up and get their credit points and all that, as I think most of you pun dekat sini yang going on the journey of TS, that's why you're attending this session. Standards must be set and standards must be continued to be improved and enhanced moving forward, because the whole body of knowledge in data literacy is orang kata moves quite fast. But having said that, the fundamental is still orang kata intact, and that's what again we are hoping that again MBOD informs more will continue to work with us, right? So again, itu orang kata my mukadimah, ladies and gentlemen. I think the webinar or the session what I plan to do is actually in 3 parts. Why the talk about data analytics now? So dulu pun those who have worked more than 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, kita play with data and Excel every time. Tapi suddenly it becomes really orang kata the limelight of bosses, organization, again, politician, every time they talk about data analytics and all that. I'll spend a bit of time to talk about again why suddenly it becomes a flavor of the day today. Number 2, it's important to actually give you a bit of insight on the structured path to a truly data-driven organization. So banyak cara nak boleh buat kita in terms of trying to get ourselves to data-driven organization. Kadang-kadang we can go by experiment and all that. But again, from our CADS punya experience, we will actually again help a lot of our clients, again organization, to really understand what it takes to become a data-driven organization. Last but not least, I think is good opportunity for me to share with you our lessons that we've worked with the industry in terms of profiling. So DDO is data-driven organization. We did this 2 years ago, just to give a deep stick. Sebenarnya kita ni kat mana lah level DDO ni? Are we really ready yet to become macam Spotify lah, Netflix, Airbnb? Because they are at least when we talk about a data-driven organization, they are the true data-driven organization punya example, where people would really want to actually, especially the young ones, they would like to go there and work in this kind of organization. So 3 part, and I'll walk through with you sekejap ya. So before that, I just wanted to show you this video because topik sebenarnya kat sini digital organization, tapi again data organization and all that semua. Actually, these two are interchangeable and interrelated. While digital is everybody wants to go there, tapi sebenarnya if you look balik, the fundamental core goes back to data. So I'll share you this video.
Whether it's digital banks or any organization looking to better analyze prospective customers and associated risks, many turn to investing in big data, machine learning, and AI. However, these technologies won't be of much help without access to reliable data. For digital banks, this means that they will need to think about where they can get reliable data from, who they can look to for right data sources, and how they can ensure that the data input from the source will be continuous while addressing data privacy concerns. With access to the right data, coupled with investing in the right tech capabilities, digital banks can achieve more synergy when it comes to product development, retail banking, and risk management. It's never too early to start thinking about what sort of strategic partnerships or alliances you can form, and what kind of companies or platforms are available which you can work with to optimize your data strategy.
So the word that the gentleman used was how to actually optimize data strategy. And this is when I just wanted to probably orang kata a reminder for all of us today. Sebenarnya the whole thing about this whole data driven or data analytics come into play because of tak lain dan tak bukan the industrial revolution. So industrial revolution that really doesn't come every year or every 5 years. As far as I know, I'm old enough to actually live in the time of industry, at the beginning of industry 3.0. So if you, most of you that is old, you are old enough to actually remember when I started working, bila this whole industrial 3.0 happens, talking about computers, electronics and all that small, I masuk kerja, I tengok my bosses again was asking the secretary to actually print all the emails every day, so for him to actually read the emails on paper. So then I realized again, for those who are actually again starting the new job and all that small, we learn computing or at least the internet and all that small during the university. And again, when we go into the workforce, we were definitely puzzled to see again apasal bosses kita using all this again ada the facility and all that small, but they continue to do the old way of doing things. So it looks funny, but if you fast forward in industry 4.0, it's the similar thing that happens today, because again the young ones are very familiar with a lot of things with regards to cloud and again Internet of Things and network, but bosses, but those who have actually worked for the longest time, the resistance to change as an individual to learn the very basic thing is quite high. Meaning to say dekat sini there are a lot of data that again accumulated and thanks to the cloud punya facilities and all that semua. And with cloud, it's not your typical server. I mean, those who are familiar with the IT background and all that semua, you can pretty much do everything on cloud. And that means again mengumpulkan data, trying to actually do the correlation with data, the analytics and all that semua. So definitely over the years, in the last 10 years, you know, and we know for a fact that again, the way we do things at work, the way we do things at home, and again, our lifestyle and all that semua have completely changed because of the industry 4.0. So much so that again, people are talking about again, data is the new oil, the source of power, right? Meaning, and today people are talking about how do we monetize data. So Industrial Revolution 4.0 is the main reason why we are actually talking about this whole data analytics, big data, digitization and all that small, because a lot of things are changing because of the new technology that's happening. And I think this will actually happen again, will evolve in the next 10 years and all that until maybe who knows what's going to happen in the Industry 4.0. Because of this, the need for us to do things differently will definitely be something of importance. So with big data, I think it's important all of us to know that again, it unlocks growth and opportunity in productivity, enhancement and significant value. As far as the business people are concerned, kalau I go with this big data investment, they want to actually look at again, how do you unlock growth opportunity to make more money and all that more. From those who are actually managing costs and all that, productivity is key. And that's why big data can actually again play in terms of doing the analysis and coming up with again recommendation how organization can become more productive. And another thing is again, demand is on the rise for qualified and highly skilled talents able to decipher big data. So sekarang ni memang ledakan data ni memang again, I will share you how much exactly year on year data growth of an organization. When suddenly these new skills orang kata required by organization, obviously we are short of talent today. And I can tell you also how short we are in terms of the talent, where sekarang ni in terms of the workforce and all that, we still I mean, at least for Malaysia punya organization, we are still hiring talent from again India, Philippines, Russia and all that semua, because again they have ready talent. Cuma I think the trend that we are seeing today in the last 2 years during COVID, most of these expats cannot orang kata travel to Malaysia and all that semua. Either they work from their country. The challenge has always been about the time zone and all that semua. The good thing is again, there's already an opportunity for organization in Malaysia to shift and pivot to actually attract talent from Malaysia. Okay. And the third is again, an analytical workforce that embrace data-driven culture needs to be cultivated. So because of its industrial revolution, the work that all of us are trying to do now perlu orang kata anjakan minda dekat sini lah, the change of mindset. How do we approach data analytics in a bigger way? That means that's why you are seeing a lot of organization they create new jobs. For example, chief digital officer or chief data officer. Whenever you are at the chief level, of course, you are reporting again straight to the chief executive officer. You are given a perspective and given the mandate to change the culture of the organization. So it's important that I think when we do this whole data-driven organization, it goes back to how do you start the culture of data-driven organization? I leave it to the last point on 2 or 3 things yang paling important sekali for all of us to actually orang kata go back and see what we can actually do within our role lah. And the fourth point is again, businesses are drowning in data but starving for insights. I think this is orang kata this people tak realise sebenarnya banyak data kita dah accumulate dekat sini, and if we start talking with again the decision makers, be it the senior management of the board members, kalau you all pernah dengar bila kita kumpulkan data and all that semua, kadang-kadang bosses kita kata so what? So what is something that again kadang-kadang or most of the time a lot of us, not just the junior level, struggle to actually give the insights. Insights is not again to give you the data of the past. I think moving forward with big data ni, the expectation is always to look at again what can happen in the future based on scenario 1, scenario 2 and scenario 3. So that is the struggle, and that's the something that again can be addressed through knowledge and skill. So this is something that again people don't realize in terms of over the last 4 years, ya. Kalau kita punya phone pun kita tukar every 3 years. That means we have actually double our capacity of data in our phone and all that semua, and we decided to actually again change it. If you look at an organization on average, the data that they've accumulated, structured, unstructured, again digital, on paper and all that semua, we are talking about 40% a year. Yeah, GDP economy growth pun is probably around 3 to 4%. Yep. Growth of a business pun probably again up to 10% or 15% higher. Tapi data growth in an organization is 40% every year. So what we can actually say is again every 2 years kan it doubles already or almost double. So bila dah ada all these data bukan, where do you start to actually making sense on managing this data, right? And if I go back to again what our plan and how we actually want to actually go back to the bosses, use this data to find competitive edge. Try to actually do predictive analysis. Macam mana nak optimize sales? Macam mana nak innovate? Ya, sekarang ni innovation pun can actually be done in a shorter manner because you have that prediction to make it faster. And spot trends, that's another strength and capability of if we actually utilize data analytics to the core. And more importantly, again, it's as simple as again how to actually make more money, how to reduce money, and how to actually make people life easier. Itu paling penting sekali in a data-driven organization punya culture, right? So kalau if people are asking you what exactly is data-driven organization or again a digital-driven organization, again as I say it's interchangeable today. Let me just read to you the sentence. It's quite mouthful, but it's important. When a company employs a data-driven approach, it means it makes strategic decisions based on data analytics and interpretation. A data-driven approach enables companies to examine and organize their data with the goal of better serving their customer and consumers. So, in short, if you look at how people are talking to you and all that, semua kadang-kadang, you know, they are not a data-driven organization. Oh, I give you example. Kita punya profit lagi banyak daripada last year lah. So, by saying that, what's missing here? There's no data. People are not talking about again 10% growth and all that, and there's also not orang kata a proactive or paradigm punya future centric conversation in terms of the conversation. So this is a data driven organization. Everything you say, whatever that you decide, must be based on data and facts. As simple as that. And I think if I share with you a bit later where Malaysian companies are today, this is we are not there yet, simply because maybe it's not our culture. Kalau in American culture, they always talk about statistics, be it in sports punya management, be it in again everything that they do. Tapi kita ni we have never gone into that whole data culture, but this is to actually educate people. Sekarang ni data dah ada, how do you actually talk data, and how can you convince everybody to make decision based on your data. right? So a data-driven organization, if anything, should possess three things, yeah. Number one is digital leadership. What does that mean? Is again a culture in which everyone buys into the idea of using data to make business decisions. It's easier said than done, as I see this, because bosses, when we go into meeting and all that small, they try to make decision based on their emotion rather than actual data dekat sini. So it's important that again we need to create that culture. And normally when we talk about leadership, it goes top down in terms of making sure you're going to get in terms of the data-driven organization journey on the right path. Number two is data literacy. So this is what we talk about, and CADS we have been doing for the longest time is the ability to read, understand, create, and communicate data as information. And of course, the third one kena ada the infrastructure lah dekat sini by making sure that again you set up your cloud and all that semua. So all this tak banyak tiga benda ni aja, just to make sure that again you are on the right track on going to a data-driven organization. Can we measure all these three with CADS punya experience and all that? Yes, we can. Okay, so this is why if people are trying to actually go into a digital transformation, often than not, we know that again more than half, in fact, it's 60 to 85% of digital transformation initiatives fail. Fail, what does it mean? They have invest a lot of money, invested a lot of people's time, making sure buat mini project and all that semua. After 1 year or 2 years, people go back to their their normal punya day-to-day work. So from that, the perception of the board or the management, they know that again the implementation has failed. Okay, so much so that again we are trying to understand apa sebab benda ni tak jadilah, because change has always been very difficult, or digital transformation is very difficult, but we know that again we can do this right. What are the success factor for the 10% or the 20% organization that did well? So dekat sini I think they have actually do it well, because before they do it, they need to actually make sure that they know where they are first. Ya, kalau tak tahu where your kelemahan and your shortfall and your strength, then you can't plan this well. And of course, that is then driven by your strategy. Strategy kat sini is again, you do a digital transformation to become a data-driven organization to actually achieve what your organization is supposed to achieve. Yep. Kalau the company is to grow by again 2 times in 5 years, what does it take for a data-driven organization to employ? How many people of data scientists should you hire? These are the conversation I think people are struggling, but we are working towards making sure that again a data-driven organization must anchor balik kepada objective and mission of the organization lah, right? So this is also a data, ladies and gentlemen, to share with you that it's important. When I talk about baseline dekat sini, baseline banyak dah ada dah. Coursera report in 2020, for example, have done a research on the competency of individuals in 3 domains. Satu business, second is technology, and third is data science. So I just wanted to pick on the technology and data science punya subject or domain of knowledge, where in 60 countries, when Coursera did this assessment or profiling of how are we Malaysians capable compared to other countries in the subject of technology and data science. Scary enough, ramai tak tahu benda ni in technology, and technology ni you tengok in artificial intelligence, in web development, in cloud computing, the knowledge that we have compared to 60 countries, kita dalam kategori lagging. Lagging kalau you tengok kat sini nombor 49 out of 60. That is on kata at the very bottom lah of the thing, and this is a concern that I'm trying to actually tell people. Yes, kadang-kadang the truth hurts, but we need to actually start realizing kadang-kadang kita dah invest banyak benda dekat our team and all that semua, but why are we still there at that number 49 out of 60? That is on in technology domain. In data science tak banyak beza, tapi kalau you tengok kat sini pun we actually fall under number 43 out of 60. Dalam knowledge of data science, that's when data storytelling, Python, SQL, deep learning, these are the knowledge very specific to data science. So collectively, ladies and gentlemen, if you know this is something that again of a serious concern, where do we start as an individual? Where do we start as an organization to position our workforce to become better? And hopefully, CADS, as I said again, working with all these bodies and partners and clients, we are trying to actually move ourselves to become, hopefully, I mean, it's okay to dream. At least one day kita go to that cutting edge of a certain year. Bukan sekadar nak produce data professional, tapi quality data professionals. That's more important to us, right? So when we talk about data literacy, we talk about again able to read, understand, create, communicate data as information. These are the knowledge of data literacy, where not just IT people should have this. As I mentioned again, data literacy is something that again all of us, from board member all the way to meter readers, yang diploma and all that semua. In India, for example, data-driven organization, even lady yang jaga toilet, I mean the lady, the cleaner and all that semua, how they actually educate these ladies to actually become upskill. Every time they clean the toilet dekat airport and all that semua, they actually scan dia punya QR code to actually update in terms of their activity and all that. So as you can see, in totality, data literacy is very key to all of us today. All right, just to manage, because data ni ada volume, velocity, variety, veracity, value. Panjang cerita ni kalau sebenarnya, kalau nak cerita, just to talk about data literacy. And when we talk about data professionals, this is when new jobs are created. Everybody know data scientist is the sexiest job of the 21st century. It is so sexy. I mean, just to share with you, shortage of data professional memang tak ada hari ni. Memang tinggi. Those with first year experience kerja, they go into micro credentialing and data professionals. You'll be surprised. They can command salary of between 6,000 all the way to 9,000 with just 1 year or 2 years experience. That's how serious shortage of data professionals today. Okay. And when we talk about data analytics, so moving from big data to analytics is simple. You have big data, you try to actually clean up the data, you actually compartmentalize data, start doing the analysis, and then the decision is paling key sekali lah to communicate to the relevant party. So that's the essence of data, where sekarang ni it's not us doing it, we have the AI and the machine learning to actually support the whole analytics for the big data, right? So I'm going to rush a few kat sini, because dekat sini good data is about cost avoidance, return on investment, and pinpoint discrepancy and all that. And there's also bad data, because data ni banyak ya. So bila ada bad data ni, because you have this confusion. What data? How do you clean this data? Because if you don't clean the data, you know that again the whole principle of garbage in and garbage out, your decision will be skewed in terms of again giving you the wrong information. We have seen in the past, kalau kita ambil example on COVID punya case in Malaysia, I mean my personal view, kalau you tengok mula-mula kita punya trend was very good. Suddenly kalau you tengok, then we were not really doing it well. My personal view, kalau you all tahu, we never know how much our how many illegal workers are there in this country. So at that point in time, I think again all of us are struggling to make sure that again, how do we actually predict to make sure that we recover fast in terms of this whole pandemic? So kalau you are able to actually connect the dots in terms of sebab apa kita punya number kejap cantik, tak cantik and all that semua, there are certain bad data or data that we did not manage. But kalau data scientists have that capability to actually then realize what happened, then we start correcting it, and then again orang kata take into consideration all this decision for our future planning. So the cost of bad data, this is something that we always want to tell people is, for example, in the US, 3.1 trillion. That is how much kalau you don't manage your data well. 3.1 trillion is a big, huge money dekat sini. Kalau you try to extrapolate dekat Malaysia punya context, ratio to population also, I'm sure it will run in billions, because we are not managing our data very well dengan ada bad data and all that small. That's why data analytics is important, to clean the data before you start analyzing it. 40% number of leads that contain bad data. So for businessman or commercial, bila again datang all this information, we want to actually convert that into sales and all that small. 40% tak boleh pakai. because we don't clean it up at the start. So again, rugi lah dekat sini. We have invested all the platform and all that, but as you can see here, that's significant number that we are not managing our data well. And last but not least is the revenue. 66% revenue boost seen by implementing data quality best practices. So if you start doing your data cleanup very well and manage your data better, 66% revenue boost, guys. That's impressive. Kalau nak tengok macam mana how we can actually maximize and utilize data management, okay? And in short, kalau nak cerita kat sini, kita ni macam orang kata we are the chef, ya. Ingredient masukkan macam-macam. Ada rotten ingredients lah and all that semua. The struggle, even if you have good scientists, you can have a great chef, tapi if you put all these things and all that semua, the answer is always in the data. Doesn't matter how good the data scientists are. So just to let you know, in our project that we manage with our client and all that semua, the toughest bit, the time that you the time that you spend most of the time will be the cleaning up of the data. After that, it'll be very, very easy, especially for companies yang dah lama. But for startup and all that, it's not that complicated because you are starting from fresh. Okay, tak banyak slide lagi. I think I want to quickly run to you in terms of, again, post-COVID, everybody is trying to do different in terms of to become a data-driven organization. So if you look at the new normal, everybody will accelerate dia punya work processes. Macam mana to actually go on Zoom, go on virtual meeting and all that semua. It saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of, again, cost in terms of doing things virtually and all that, provided you have your internet speed and all that. So what we are trying to actually observe dekat sini, kadang-kadang the very little things like making sure people are conducive in their environment, that's the right way forward to become a data-driven organization. So they are already a trend where people are talking about making sure that, again, this thing will remain in the future. And more importantly, dekat sini, I always talk, when I talk, I will try to go and back it up by data. World Economic Forum are saying that, again, more than half of the employees should be upskill and reskill. Ya, kalau dekat sini, kalau you nak to remain relevant, kalau tak, orang kata tak eaten up by other competitors and all that semua, more than half of your organization needs to be upskilled. Kalau tengok dekat sini, dia again already top 10 emerging jobs that World Economic Forum have predicted. The top 3 are data analysts and scientists, AI machine learning specialists, and number 6 to big data specialists. Top 10 declining, of course, data entry clerk will no longer be there, postal service clerks. So bila people see understand the context, new jobs will be created, old jobs will diminish. How do we actually again remain relevant? So let me end you with a few slides kat sini. Where do you start? I think you need to go back to your organization and understand. Kalau in CADS punya term, we always have this category of we imagine our organization is like an elephant. Besar kan? Besar, susah nak gerak and all that semua. Tapi an elephant or a true data-driven organization, we aspire or we tell our client, you can fly. This is at the level 5, and most of the organization, we need to actually start understand first. Where are you? Are you elephant number 1 ke? Elephant number 1 ni, kalau you nak tahu, is we don't know what we don't know. Kalau you tanya 10 orang dekat organisation tu, dekat bosses tu, they don't know anything about data analytics. And then level 2 ni, we know what we don't know. So saya faham yang saya tak tahu benda-benda ni. So at least ada recognition kat sini as an organisation. Oh, I actually know data analytics, tapi sebenarnya I don't know what is it about. The third one, an elephant that can walk. To become a data-driven organisation, we know what we want, but we don't know how to do it. So ada effort kat sini tapi tak tahu nak buat macam mana. And that's when the next elephant, when they run, we have the basics, but we want to do more. This is when we look at how organization has evolved. Ultimately, as a data-driven organization like Spotify, Airbnb, we are advanced. How else can you help us? So if you look at how this component of data-driven organization that we measure against 6 dimensions, strategy, organization, people, and all that more, it's important that you understand where you are in the first place. All right. So how do we measure this? We look at the strategy. Ada tak strategi to become a data-driven organization? Number dua, organization. Do you actually set your organization to become a data-driven organization? Ada tak achieve digital officer punya outfit dekat situ? Or a data scientist punya outfit? Is it centralized or is it decentralized? With regards to talent, point number 3, do you have the people with the right skill that can take the right action? Sometimes you hire tapi they don't have the right skill, tak cukup juga. Technology, of course, most of the organisation dekat Malaysia dah invest banyak. But again, people are moving towards cloud and all that. Data, how does our data support achieve our strategic objectives? So this is when I think number 5 ni, bila tengok data and all that semua, dekat mana? Dekat server ke atau dekat on paper and all that semua, you need to take that baseline. And then of course the analytics, dekat mana sekarang the level of analytics and capability that you have as an organisation. So what we try to do in terms of, again, helping out organisation is to actually do that diagnosis. And then bila dah tahu level 1 ke level 2, level 3 where you are now, kita akan tanya, where do you want to be in the next 2-3 years? Nak jadi level 4 ke level 5? Kadang-kadang again, people are ambitious and they want to be at level 5 terus. Bila jadi macam ni, we would like to then sit down together with certain stakeholders, senior management, to understand how do we actually plan for you to actually move from level 2 to level 3, for example. So one of the thing is, of course, the data literacy punya assessment, individual capability is very key. Kalau you tengok Coursera punya report, memang we are still not there yet. Organization take a deep stick in terms of data literacy assessment. We properly plan in terms of the learning path. Ya, itu paling penting sekali. You want to be a generalist ke, or you want to be a specialist in this role? And last but not least, we run projects. Because kadang-kadang benda ni baru, bila buat benda ni try to buat to do too big, and it fails, then the management will say, let's not do this anymore. Tapi if you start doing an incubator project, when you see small wins and success, then you get the buy-in from everybody to do it together in a large scale punya activity. So I have 2 more slides nak tunjuk dekat sini. We did a quick survey on a DDO in Malaysia 2 years ago. 100 organisation, 16 industry, and we found out daripada gajah 1 sampai 5 ni, only 12% organisation have reached the 3rd maturity punya level. Tak banyak, only 12%. Tapi at least 87% inspired to take their maturity level either level 3 or even higher dekat sini. This is some of the data that again we've shared. Some organisation industry are more advanced than others, but in average people are still, orang kata gajah still tengah stand, tak berjalan lagi. Alright, and more importantly, all this report we will actually work together in terms of where do you address the issue first? Is it the organisation ke? Is it the people? Based on the profiling that we do, we can actually do this in a manner that, again, in a more structured way and cost effective for organisation. So I dah terlajak sikit. I know I mean I don't mind to actually extend a bit of time to pulang kepada tuan rumah, my ref. I'm open for question and answer from all of you today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. for your sharing today. Alhamdulillah, today we explored the data-driven organization. Today we have short time than our usual. We're going to have some quick Q&A session. Do you have questions from the floor? You may speak directly with Mr. Farouk or write questions in the chat box. Okay, maybe I'll give some room to think a bit. I'm gonna read the chat box.
I saw one question.
Actually.
The person is an undergraduate. Which skill do you think is important to start in data career? Dua. Very quickly, we always encourage that undergraduate have this ability to accelerate their data analytics skill. Meaning to say, kalau you tengok Excel and all that semua, how do you start doing basic analytics on data that you have? Number dua, kalau dah ada this information, how do you tell the story? So kalau kat sini, the skill in data literacy that we also emphasize to especially undergraduates more, data storytelling dekat sini. It's important that you tell your story. So I hope if you just focus on this, I think you'll go far. Ada soalan lagi ni? Can I just take the question dekat sini?
Yes.
In your opinion, how to solve the problem of short of talent in applying DDO among locals in short and long term? Ini daripada Encik Majid Hanafi. Very good question. This is the same problem that again many organizations are facing. Short term upskilling of your team members, and this is you need to collaborate with your HR to make sure that again normally the intervention is dalam masa 3 bulan you get to see people are upskill. In our CADS punya learning path, we actually run programs and mini projects. So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You belajar and you actually apply the knowledge in your module. So that is actually in the short term punya approach to address short talent, because you are actually building skill from your own organization. The long term plan, the HR must have a bigger picture of the plan in terms of number 1, berapa ramai data professionals that you require in your organization. That is a manpower planning punya strategy. Once you have that, then to answer that, kalau you need katakanlah again X amount, how many people more that you need to train and how many people you need to hire from outside. That's given. I hope I've answered your question on a short and a long term plan to address short of talent in DDO. Encik Majid Hanafi. Boleh saya ambil satu soalan lagi? Ada ni. What is your view of difficult approach in gathering qualitative and quantitative data from organization? Laksamanan Kurupa dekat sini. A very interesting question as well. I think the challenge, the difficulty in gathering data in organization is because data is not democratized. Maksudnya dekat sini kan, kita ada culture nak again, kita keep it to ourselves or department keep it to ourselves. Bila kita start asking data from another department, either they don't want to share and they make it very difficult to share. So sebagai solution to this, it's important that again as a data driven organization, the top leaders must start talking about how do you start democratizing data. As simple as again, everything needs to be shared. Yeah, because sekarang ni orang kata sharing is definitely caring. Tak boleh dah orang kata kedekut. And that's the issue today on gathering data because of the mindset. Yep. Ada soalan lagi sini? Let me know when to stop.
It's okay.
So I'll answer this one. Wondering which one is better, to pursue master in data analytics or professional certification on data analytics? My answer will be biased. My answer will be biased. Tapi I will give you why I think moving forward today, professional certification on data analytics tends to be the preferred route for again whoever wants to be data professionals. 2 reason. Pertama, data professional punya certification is faster, shorter and cheaper. So and because we tackle straight to the skill that required dekat sini. Number 2, we know that again this is the demand required by the industry now. So kalau you tengok dekat again Google, Facebook, dia tak hire people from ada masters or degree dah. Kalau you dah ada certification and all that, is orang kata, of course the certification must be a solid one lah ya. And the third one, I think I might be controversial by saying this. Kadang-kadang the masters offered by universities are not actually orang kata required, the needs or the knowledge and all that, not keeping up to the industry. So these are some of the factors. Since Puan Nur Amira is asking, my personal view, bukannya orang kata tak bagus buat masters ni, but you need to actually look at all this and decide what would be the best punya route forward lah. Okay. Ada soalan lagi ni. I take another.
Sure.
What is your opinion when top management decide to take action or make decision based on experience rather than data analysis? As you said earlier, younger generation, they rely more digital data, but experienced people most likely tend to make decision based on experience. So, good question, Carol Asra. I think I can just say is in the context of older people ni, satu, dia kata dia punya pepatah tu, saya makan garam lagi awal daripada lagi banyak daripada you. So sometimes they call it wisdom. So kadang-kadang wisdom ni can be confused with again real decisions and data. So that's why I think my opinion when top management decide, most often than not, dia kata saya dah tengok benda ni lama dah benda semua, and this is the right thing to do. Tapi sedar-sedar it's not being backed by data. there's also a component of cultural kat sini. Some culture, senior management, they give on data. Tapi I guess in the context of again Malaysia, I tengok we still need to educate our bosses. So that's why in CADS kita pun ada educate senior management or bosses to change their mindset. For example, knowledge in data story listening. They orang kena start listen rather than talk. These are the skills that people need to know. And that's the reason I think we need to educate data literacy for all, yeah. Especially orang kata lagi tua doang lagi kenalah kita educate doang ni lagi. Alright. Soalan lagi ada coming B2B ni. Nur Amira Fatin, how do we comply all compliance and regulations while using processing data? Very genuine concern because I think when we, with regards to data, we talk about data security. When we talk about data, we need to actually manage the PDPA. Kita tak boleh share data just like that and all that semua. So my first advice would be, again, you look back at the organization, the structure of how do you manage this data? Who is accountable at the highest level in terms of making sure the governance is well tracked and all that semua. And of course, the next question, the next response to Amira would be the execution lah. Kalau people tak actually again adhere to managing the compliance and regulation, I think action needs to be taken at again organization level, at again regulatory body and all that small. So it's important. Kalau when you talk about compliance and all that, we need to work within a framework that has been established by the again regulators, be it in organization atau again at governing body lah. Okay. Dekat sini Laksamana kata some info on data crime. Oh, tak berapa jelas kat sini. What exactly it means. Any other questions or comments or feedback? Pandangan, I also want to learn from all of you. Kalau I nak tanya dekat sini, level 1 to level 5 your organisation today as a data driven organisation, 1 to 5 just click dekat sini I nak tengok. Where do you think your organisation now? Gajah duduk ke, gajah berdiri ke? Boleh tekan kat situ. It'll be interesting to know, just a quick data to see. Level 1 to level 5, where are you in your organisation? Level 2 ada company ni. Maslina kata, I tak boleh sebut nama lah, I tengok je kat sini. Level 2, where are you? Kalau if you are working in an organisation, where do you think your organisation is? Gajah berdiri, gajah duduk, gajah terbang. Level 2, yang lain tak wani cakap kot, tak nak share. Level 5, I'm interested to know, tapi kita tak apa, we can. Encik Firdaus punya organisation is at level 5, well done. Okay, maybe last questions and comments. Then I'll pass it back to again lah. Puan Lubna, Miss Lubna dekat sini. Level 4 dekat sini. Okay. Kalau nak an independent view of where you are exactly, you can reach out to CADS. We could do more. Last question. We are using ada organisation ni level 1. See? Tak apa, let all of us work. I mean, hopefully with my sharing today, I think kalau ada tersilap, salah and all that semua, saya minta maaf. Kekurangan saya, tapi yang again, I hope you all have gotten some insights and knowledge from this sharing session of mine. And let's work and advocate this data-driven organization and data literacy individually, with friends, with bosses, as company, to drive the country. Because we are at the competition with a lot of countries abroad. Kalau kita tak bergerak pantas and in a structured manner, will be less competitive at the end of the day. So with that, I think I'll just pass to Madam Pengerusi, Ms. Lubna, and thank you again for this opportunity for me to share with you on this Blessed Friday. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Farouk, for entertaining questions from our participants. For everyone information, we are having more sessions with CADS in the future, inshallah. So stay tuned with us. We are going to explore more on data literacy. We are having more webinar series and etc. If there is no other questions, we will wrap up the session. Before we end the session, can we have everyone to open your camera? So we're having a photo shoot session.
Ada orang tanya boleh jadi mentor Mr. Farouk. Perjalanan jauh lagi tapi boleh je.
Oh.
Allah.
Mr. Farouk, can you unshare your screen?
Can.
Alright, okay. Can you share your LinkedIn, Mr. Farouk?
Boleh sekejap ya.
Okay, kita akan agak gambar. I count 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, hold on. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Freestyle. Thank you, Mr. Farouk. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Salam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you too.